Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at a big old slate here on Thursday in the NBA. We have 13 games. After a long week of the NBA Cup, right? We don't have too many games per day. Now we are back. We got plenty to choose from. So I've got a few bets in already, but a lot of projections for tomorrow's slate so you guys can make your picks as best as possible. I always preach a little bit of patience with these overnight lines when you don't have the injury reports where you need them. And we don't have them where we need them for a lot of games. I'll go into the specifics of who I'm waiting to get the injury news about and why I might not be having bets right now, but the stuff that I'm looking to make tomorrow once I see how lines move. So I'm going to get into the last day, how we did on Tuesday in that NBA Cup final. Really nice record there. Then I'm going to get right into these player props. So if that all sounds good, go ahead and give that video a like. Let's get right into it. I told y'all about Taurean Prince there on Tuesday night. Catch and shoot stuff. AJ Green also hit his 3 threes. I suggested that one, but I didn't give it out in the VIP. I was a little bit cautious with this game with the VIP picks that I gave out in that Discord there because I just didn't want to have to force stuff on a one-game slate, right? But we still had a couple of nice pinpoints here. Taurean Prince with the points, and we got the threes. I hit the points a little bit later during the live show, actually, as soon as we got the news that Chris Middleton became doubtful to play. He didn't play. Taurean Prince started. Nice hits for T. Prince. Appreciate you, my dog. And then Dame Lillard, under 31.5 PA, came out roaring. I believe he had like 19 PA at the half or something. Finished with about 28 or something to that degree, 24-4, 23-4 in that area. So we hit nicely with Dame Lillard, even though they got the win. And then this is why I stay away from sides, man. I played 3 sides this season. I am 1-2. I've lost 1.1 units or whatever. I'm good. I don't know why I even try to get these sides. I thought OKC was a guarantee. They had mismatches all over the floor. Going 2 for 20 doesn't help. If you look at the way that things went, they could have won by a good amount if they had hit just a fraction more of their shots. But I'm really not concerned about that. We stride on here with the nice record for the play of props. And on the year, 33 units up. So I am going to run back that code up 33. If you do want to get 33% off, I still have 2 left. We ran it back, but now that we're back up to 33 units, we can get that going again. So if you do want to get into the VIP, that would be the code I would use. This is what you're getting there, daily access to the bets, but also daily access to myself and to some one-on-one betting support. If you ever want to meet, that is a part of the VIP package as well. As we get into everything, reminder, I'm using Props Madness as the home base here for everything NBA betting. Definitely recommend getting a subscription. If you do not yet have one, 25% off if you use code LYB on your first month. So do use that code if you want to get in there, get a little bit of a discount, and do come back as well for the live show. We have that every day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm not able to get through everything tonight and look at every single bet that I might want to make for tomorrow, but by tomorrow on the live show, we'll have a much better idea of some lineups and some injury news that we need to keep track of. I will say, as we're getting into things here, the injury news just started to trickle down for all of these players and these games. There's still a little bit of unknown, but do remember, if you need to get access to the actual NBA official injury report, so you're getting the actual 100% guaranteed verified news, this is the link that you want to use to the injury report that's updated every hour on the half hour. I'm going to skip over this first game here with Charlotte and the Wizards because I'm just now getting news and Brandon Miller is still questionable. Very important to that game. So I'm going to wait on anything with that one. Plus, there's plenty other better matchups, to be honest, than to waste too much time with that game. But the first game I'm looking at here is the Thunder and the Magic because I do have a play in this one that I already put out in the VIP Discord nice and early. I believe you can still get it at a fair number because it is nice and early, but that's Goga Bitadze to get over 8.5 rebounds. And it actually looks like that is on the move. In some places, you can still get it at 8.5, minus 130, minus 140. But now you're going to have to start to look at it at about 9.5. And we're just getting, this is just disrespectful, man, at this point. To even have opened this thing at 8.5 for Goga, when if you look at him without the 2 stars, Paolo and Franz, simply put, there's only been 3 games. But I mean, if you look at these 3 games, he's averaging at this point, it's up to about 13.7 rebounds per game in these 3 without them. And one of them, this last game against the Knicks that they lost there, 25 minutes in that one and still got the 13 rebound chances that he needed to get 11 boards there last week when they played. So, there's still in the minutes that he's playing. And this is the really important part. If we go back to our favorite tool here, which is Fantasy Labs, so that we can see exactly how Goga does with and without certain guys on the court, I want to put him on the court with just a few guys that I know he's going to be playing with. We did this the other day, but I can tell you right now, it's very good. Jalen Suggs, KCP, I'm going to throw them on the floor. And the last one that I'm going to give him to, I'm just going to leave them for now, because if I can put Tristan DeSilva in there, whatever. But the guys off court I want to make sure I have are obviously Franz and Paolo, because neither of those guys are going to play once again on Thursday. So if you look at Goga in these situations, per 36 minutes, he's averaging 16.6 boards in 36 minutes when he plays with the basically anybody that's not Paolo and Franz, right, on the court. And in those situations, he's basically at about 0.5 rebounds per minute. Even if he plays the 25 minutes once again, which I consider his floor, right, moving forward, he's so important to this offense and so important to the rebounding that he's going to play at least 25 minutes moving forward. 25 minutes times his average per minute rebound comes out to 11.5. So 11.5 rebounds per 25 minutes is what he's averaging when he plays without Franz and without Paolo. That's the point of Fantasy Labs here, to show us on-court, off-court stuff so we know when guys are playing with other specific guys, how do they do? And Goga, as long as neither Franz nor Paolo are on the floor, is a rebound machine and somebody that you have to take up to about 9.5. I would still play this at the plus money. If all you can get it is 9.5 when you see this episode, I would still play that to about minus 105. The other guy I'm still looking at is iHeart. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein has been a complete beast since he's come back. And if you look at him in the games that he's had since he's been back, I really like the rebounds as much as anything for him. But once again, you can probably just consider a double-double, which you're going to get for decent money. Now, I haven't hit anything yet for me, but it's staring me in the face. If you look at the averages, right, he's at 12 in about 30 minutes per game. He's at about 20 rebound chances per game, over an 8 of 11. 11.5 is still a fair number. There were some 10.5s, and it looks like that's got bet. So now you have to take 12 plus rebounds for Isaiah Hartenstein. I think I would just go with the PR at this point. The Magic are good against centers in general. If we pull up FanDuel Fantasy Pros and look at centers and how the Magic limit that position, they are limiting them top 10 and limiting points. And if you look at rebounds, I believe second or third best, fifth best, somewhere around there in terms of rebounds, second best in terms of limiting rebounds to centers as well. So look, this is not the end all be all, but we do know that like it's at least a solid indication of how a team defends a position. And that's important. And Goga is a true center. iHeart is also a true center. So we know that these two are going to be banging against each other. I think Isaiah Hartenstein still has beatable props at 22.5 points in rebounds. That's about the end of where I would take it. I still haven't seen any injury reports official for the Thunder yet. So when I get that, then I'll get right back into this game, probably during the live stream, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't have much for this Utah and Detroit game right now. I just got the injury report once again, so I need to take a little bit of a closer look. But I can tell you right now, I'm immediately going right back to Walker Kessler. Shout out the comment in the video from the last one who was like, please tell me we're not done betting on Walker Kessler just because he went under last game. And the answer is hell no, we're not done betting on him just because of that. He had 17 PR, and I would still just be going back to the PR. It's the sort of simplest bet for him. You're getting pretty bad juice on the 20.5, but I would still take this up to 21.5 PR for Walker Kessler against the Pistons. They just lost by 1 million points, 37 to the Clippers. This game was over in the second quarter, right? And he only played 23 minutes. I had him projected at 28 to 29 minutes last game, and that was a pretty easy over in my opinion. I had him at about 24 PR in the 28 to 30 minutes that I had him playing. He didn't get those minutes because the game was over, like we said. So blowouts will happen in the NBA. You can't control that. I think there's a lot less likely chance that he gets blown out by the Detroit Pistons than they did against the Clippers. So with that said, we know that at the very least we're going to have Lauri Markkanen, we're going to have Keontae George, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and Walker Kessler. We're going to have the usuals here. So they're going to get the normal time. Kessler's been playing 30 plus minutes. I'm going to continue to believe in him just because of one game that he went under. If anything, this is helping us keep the value of his prop alive, and I still like an over for the big man. Another massive stay away. I need to see what happens with Scotty Barnes in this Nets and Raptors game. And the Nets are going to be a pretty big stay away in general. Both their team and anybody playing against the Nets for me right now, I don't know what to do with them. They're just trying to ship everybody out. We're not going to see Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith on this team for much longer. It doesn't seem like either. There's going to be more trades for the Nets coming as they just need to get rid of their players. They'll take on salary if they want. They're just trying to hoard draft picks and start this thing all over, which is fine. But I can't bet on or against them right now very easily. And I might be able to find a bet for the Raptors because RJ Barrett is an absolute maniac right now. But Scotty Barnes might play, and he's too important to what happens here. He's legit questionable, but there is a chance. So we need to know what happens with Barnes before I can do anything with this Raptors squad. And like I said, I'm a big stay away for the Nets. The Bulls, similar situation where they have a lot of guys on the questionable tag here. We've got them playing Boston in Boston. We've got KP that's questionable. He did practice on Wednesday, so it seems like he's trending towards playing, but not positive. And Kristaps is also just too important to know what we should do with the Celtics team, who probably is going to blow out the Bulls as well. Now, the Bulls without Josh Giddey, that's a different story. I do think there's some stuff we can look at here that might help us bet on some Bulls players, specifically Zach LaVine. There's a couple of reasons to bet on LaVine in this game. One would be he is the guy doing the thing that beats the Celtics the most. That is pick and roll ball handler and anybody who can hit a pull-up, because you're not going to get much catch and shoot versus the Celtics. This is a top 5 team at limiting catch and shoot, but they'll give up a high frequency of pull-up shots because that's what they're going to play one-on-one defense, right? So you're forced to go one-on-one, and that's the type of shot you're most likely going to take when you're playing somebody one-on-one and you're not getting double teamed, because the Celtics do not double. They stick to their man, do not let catch and shoot. So it comes down to, like, is it Zach LaVine or is it Coby White who you think might have a chance to score? Well, Zach LaVine's the one running a lot more pick and roll ball handler. You can see that's 19% of the points that he scores are off of that play type. And for Coby White, he's a lot more likely to be on the spot up. 25% of his points come from the spot up, the other 27% in the transition. So they're both getting a good amount in transition because Chicago's playing so fast, but you'd rather have the dude who's got the ball in his hands as a pull-up shooter than the guy who's the catch and shoot guy. At 20.5 points, Zach LaVine seems to potentially also be auditioning for a trade to a better team, such as the Denver Nuggets, who have been linked to Zach LaVine. So there's big reason for him to perform well. And he did have a good game against this team earlier in the season as well, dropping, 28 points, 29 on them. If I pull up the head-to-head stuff right here, earlier in the year, 29 against this squad. Last year had a couple good games against the Celtics too, including one without DeMar DeRozan, who obviously is not here this year. So I think Zach LaVine is a better look for points than, honestly, Coby White or even Nikola Vucevic, whose stuff is low, I will say. But Josh Giddey is questionable. So what I wanted to look at real quick was, once again, going back to Fantasy Labs, who's going to perform well with Josh Giddey off the floor. So I'm taking Ayo and Coby White. I'm putting them on the floor, as well as Vooch and Zach LaVine. And we know those four are going to be the consistents, with other guys moving in around them in the lineup if Josh Giddey is out. So I'm taking those dudes, putting them on the floor. I'm taking Josh Giddey off the floor in the event that he doesn't play tomorrow. Kind of seems like he's not going to, but it's still up in the air. If he doesn't play, which is also why I don't have an actual bet yet for Zach LaVine. But one of the things I wanted to show you is Zach LaVine in this lineup, where it's him, and let's just go to minutes, where it's him, Coby White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Zach and Vooch, right? You can see these four dudes right here. Well, Zach LaVine's at about 30 points per 36 minutes with this lineup. Vooch is at 21, and then Coby White 19, and Ayo at about 13. So a little bit more scoring, a lot more shots. You can see Zach LaVine taking about 6 more shots than anybody else on the floor per 36 minutes, right? And so this is a pretty helpful thing, because he's going to probably play 33, 34 minutes, especially if Josh Giddey doesn't play. So without Giddey, this is kind of how things go. LaVine takes over the scoring. The ball is in his hands way more now, because Giddey kind of had the ball in his hands to facilitate. And that does leave Coby White as the odd man out. And as I said, spot up shooters against the Celtics, not the way you want to go. So LaVine is the guy that I'd be taking. Vooch is still doable as well. I mean, he had a monster game against them last game this season, where they lost by 9 points, 34 minutes, but he shot, 69%, nice, from the field, 67% from the free throw line, but 67% from three as well. I don't want to bank on him going 6 for 9. We'll see if we have Kristaps in this game, really, really good defender, and can get out to the 3-point line and guard somebody like Vooch. So I'm not as keen to just go right back to his points against a very good Celtics team that limits centers. We looked at it earlier. They are the number 1 team, or where are they at? Number 3 team limiting center points. So Vooch had an amazing game, shooting an amazing percentage. Do I want to bank on that once again? Warriors and Grizzlies, Ja's questionable, and a couple other guys. So I'm holding off on looking at that game. That one will run through in the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. For the Rockets and the Pelicans game, we know Brandon Ingram is out. I don't like betting on figuring out what is going to happen with this Rockets squad. The one thing I wanted to show you is that the Rockets do not shoot off of the catch and shoot very much at all. This is a pull-up shooting team that doesn't really pass or get assists very much. If I pull up opponent shooting here on NBA Advanced Stats, I can see how the Pelicans defend, and each team defends against pull-up shots, right? You can see for the Pelicans, they give up the lowest frequency of pull-up shots. The reason being, they double the ball. They help off of the shooter, and they come and make sure that the guy who's handling the ball, and the primary scorer or ball handler, can't go one-on-one and just take his defender, right? As a result, they give up a ton of catch and shoot. That is a problem because, as I just mentioned, against the Rockets, they don't do very much catch and shoot. They do a ton of pull-up shots. And you can look at that really easily by looking at teams and tracking data and going to pull-up shooting, right? So now I'm looking at pull-up shooting and who takes the most field goal attempts off the pull-up. You can see Houston's going to be in the top 6 or so in terms of field goals attempted, top 8, whatever it is, per game off the pull-up, as opposed to the catch and shoot shot, which if I pull that up and look at how often they do that, field goal attempts off the catch and shoot, Houston is in the bottom half of the league or so, right? Bottom 12 in terms of catch and shoot. So it's a kind of weird situation where it'd be ideal to find a catch and shoot guy for this Houston Rockets team that I could trust to take a bunch of shots, but I don't, because it's either like a Jabari Smith or a Dylan Brooks. And really the dudes who are taking the most shots are Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, and Fred VanVleet. Those are the three highest usage players on the squad. And yet I'm supposed to figure out which one of them is going to do well against a team that doesn't allow you to pull up very often at all. It's not something I want to have to figure out. And I sure shit ain't betting on Jabari Smith Jr. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that right now. So I got to wait and see. On the other side of the ball, it's kind of the opposite. If you look at CJ McCollum, he's the guy probably to target in this situation because he's taking pull-ups, and the Rockets are not going to let you get the catch and shoot. If you want to see that, you can go to teams, opponent shooting once again, go to general. I can pull up, instead of the shot range, I can look at the shot type and choose catch and shoot, right? And if I look at catch and shoot, who is giving up the lowest frequency of catch and shoot shots? That would be the Houston Rockets. So anybody that needs to rely on catch and shoot here, which would be mostly like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Brandon Boston, those guys are going to be shooting off the catch and shoot, not really the pull-up. DeJounte Murray, CJ Mullins, CJ McCollum, those two dudes are going to be shooting a lot off of the pull-up. That's where I'd be looking, but this is the best defensive rated team in the league, I believe, right now. Or what are they? They're second best defensive rating for the Rockets, and they are giving up the fewest assists per game as well. So just, be careful with the overs. This does seem like it could be a little bit of a slower game and a lower scoring game. So I'm weirdly excited for this Hawks and Spurs game. I think there's going to be a good amount of up and down and some pretty fun basketball played here. If I look at the Spurs, I just want to see how fast they've been playing as of late. Their pace on the season, 15th, is not too bad, but we know that the Hawks are playing at a massively fast pace. They are now on the season third fastest pace for them. So you're going to continue to see a good amount of overs for them. I've got a couple looks for this game now, and one of them is going to be on the two of them really are going to be on the Hawks side. So I'll get to three of them. The thing that I'm looking at here, if we're looking at similar stuff here, how do the Spurs defend? Is it pull-up shooting, or is it off the catch and shoot that you're able to beat them more? Well, I've already got it pulled up right here, and I just showed you that the Rockets have the lowest frequency of catch and shoot shots against them. The Spurs are not far behind them, right? What's that, fifth fewest and fifth lowest frequency of shots that are catch and shoot, because they, like the Rockets, do not double. They leave you one-on-one, and they do not help off of the catch and shoot guys. As a result, pull-up shots are the way to go, right? If we pull up pull-ups right here instead of catch and shoot, the highest frequency of pull-up shots would go to the Suns against them, and then the Spurs, second highest frequency of pull-up shots, which will lead to about like the top 5 most makes against them, right? So this is a bad defense one-on-one against pull-up shots. Who does that for the Hawks? I think we can probably guess. We know it's Trae Young. How much so is it Trae Young? Well, if I've already got this pulled up exactly as I want it, which is under players, tracking data, I can pull up shooting. And when I pull that up and just filter the Atlanta Hawks, I'm looking at all the Atlanta Hawks players and who shoots the most pull-ups. Unsurprisingly, Trae Young has 9 field goal attempts to lead the team. Somewhat surprisingly, that's triple the amount of pull-up shots as the second most frequently shooting guy, which is DeAndre Hunter, right? So these are the two guys that I'm looking at to do their thing against the Spurs. I mean, I don't think Chris Paul is going to be guarding Trae Young. I wouldn't imagine when they have better defenders available. But either way, they're not very good against point guards in general. And Trae Young is the exact type of player that you want to take to get some points against them. He's at 21.5. He's been a little bit weird this season. When I pull him back up on Props Madness, his shooting's been a little bit weird this season. I mean, he's at 21.5 points per game, which is what his prop is at here. I don't mind that. I still think that's a good number. About 21.5 to about -125 is a good over for his points. I like his points a lot more in this one. I believe the Spurs pretty good at limiting assists. They are giving up the 12th fewest assists per game. So they're definitely close to the top 10 in terms of that stat. I do like Trae to be able to score against them more. And the other guy is the second highest frequency of those pull-up shots is DeAndre Hunter. And so I think you can still get him at 17.5. All right, that's going up. I don't think I'm moving lines, but I gave this out in the Discord earlier, the VIP, and now it's at 18.5, and I don't love that. But I do love the fact that I got it at 17.5, and the VIP did as well. 18.5, I would play up to -110. That's what I gave it out at in the VIP as well. If you want to take 18.5 for him, make sure you're getting -110 or better for DeAndre Hunter. But a big reason for taking him, once again, is that he is the second most likely guy to take a pull-up shot for this team. And so I can continue to believe in him because his minutes are very trustworthy. This dude is cemented as the sixth man on this team, 28 to 30 minutes, and he's going to be playing at the end of close games. He's in the closing lineups. He doesn't start because Ricochet starts, and they love DeAndre Hunter to be able to score with the second unit and then play with the first unit at the end of games, end of the third quarter and into the fourth. You're going to see his minutes stay high. So I love DeAndre Hunter. Jalen Johnson, just as good of a player, probably better player, honestly, overall, but he's not going to be doing as much pull-up shooting. He definitely relies on the spot up a lot more. So with a beatable number like 18.5 for DeAndre Hunter, this is my favorite, my preferred points bet over Jalen Johnson. I will say Clint Capella also is going to be playing without Okongwu, which should at least mean 25, more likely 28 minutes if he has to be out there to defend Wemby. If you want to take him, what I don't want to have to figure out is he going to do well against a very good team at limiting centers? Specifically, if we look at how they play against centers and their points, not good, right? San Antonio, rather, in the bottom 8 or so, giving up points to the center, but they are very good limiting the rebounds, right? In the top 7, limiting rebounds to the position. So I don't really want to mess with it with Clint. I do think he's going to get a few more minutes because he has to be out there to handle Wemby as best as possible. But because of how good Wemby is at limiting rebounds and all that, it's just not, it's a stay away from me essentially for Clint Capella. One more thing from this game, and you can tell, like I said, I'm really excited for this one. This is a look that I've been going to. I'm a little scared to give it away because I think it's going to people are going to ruin this bet for me. But I'll give it to y'all because you're the loyal following, so I appreciate it. But Harrison Barnes rebounds is such a wonderful under. If this gets to 4.5, now it's still at 3.5, but the over is like minus 150, 155, right? So this is going to tip over into 4.5. If this gets to 4.5 and the under is anything like minus 125 or better, I love that bet because there is a clear correlation between Jeremy Sohan playing and Harrison Barnes getting rebounds, right? Because Harrison's in there as the quote unquote power forward, but Jeremy Sohan is a much better rebounder, much more aggressive athlete than Harrison Barnes is, and he's going to be eating into those rebounds. So with Jeremy Sohan, he's at 2.8 rebounds per game. If this gets to 4.5, he's gone under that in all but one game. A 12 out of 13 hit rate for him to go under 4.5 rebounds rather on the season when he plays with Jeremy Sohan. I love it, right? And if you look at when they play on the floor together, Harrison Barnes, if we put this into the Fantasy Lab stats here, I can just show you real quick. Anytime that you have Harrison Barnes on court with Jeremy Sohan, his rebounding is non-existent, right? So I'm going to put Harrison Barnes on the court, and I'm just going to take and put on the court as well, also Jeremy Sohan. Where are you at, Jeremy? So I'm going to put Jeremy on the floor with Harrison Barnes. And what I'm going to see is that per 36 minutes, Harrison Barnes is averaging 3.3 rebounds per game, right? Per 36. And I mean, he's not going to play 36 minutes, and he's not going to play 36 minutes with Sohan, but their minutes overlap a ton. They're both out there together. And when they're out there, Jeremy Sohan's the rebounder. You can actually see his boards are at about 10.1 per 36, right? So he's grabbing all the boards that Harrison probably wouldn't even be grabbing anyway, to be honest. He's not a good rebounder. He's not getting involved, and he's just standing out in the three-point line on offense. So I really love him to go under. Once we get this to 4.5, anything 4.5 under minus 125 or better, we're taking that for Harrison Barnes. I can't wait to talk about this Knicks and Wolves game on the live show tomorrow. I need to dig into it a little bit further. I will say the first thing that caught my eye out here is I think the revenge narrative is the most legit and credible for Cat. I think he's going to be the one who kind of feels the most slighted and like not wanted, like he should be wanted, and he's not wanted enough by that Wolves team. Obviously, they got rid of him and they kept everybody else, including Rudy. So we'll see. I think he's going to be the guy to target on the Knicks. I think they're going to sort of feed him. I do believe in that they're going to sort of reward him in a way and say, go get him, right? And go get those dudes that you kind of feel this way towards. The other guy would be Precious, because I think you're going to have to get Precious out there for a decent amount. If you can get him under 4 points, I mean, this is really good at minus 130, minus 135. I think he's going to hit a couple buckets. I think he's going to be out there for enough time to hit a couple buckets because you've got Rudy, you've got the big guys out there, obviously. And so you need a little bit extra size. And so we will see some extra size for them with Precious out there. He's actually gotten over 4.5 boards in 4 of the 5 games that he's played this season. And he's probably looking at another 18, 20 minutes, right? And if you give him 20 minutes in this one, I think you're looking at a good opportunity for him to take about 4 shots and have about like 8, 9 rebound chances to get 5 boards. I like that. That's basically what he's been at since he's been back. And I expect that to continue against the Wolves team that they're going to be decent at stopping. Like, this is not going to be a very high scoring game. As a result, you're probably going to see a few more rebounds. I think Precious is going to be crucial to all that. So he's the other guy that I'm looking at. And then I'm going to just close things out real quick with that Lakers and Kings game. I'm just going to put this out there for right now because De'Aaron Fox has been a go-to for everybody against the Lakers. He has a great history against the Lakers. I'll just put it up, but I'm heeding a little bit of caution. So let me pull up De'Aaron Fox versus Lakers last, let's say, 8 games. I think this is still a really good hit rate at like 8 games, right? So in the last 8, he's averaging 30.6, 7 assists, 6.9, nice, and 4 boards in those last 8, right? And he's going over pretty consistently. I would say if he's at 25.5, he's over in 6 of his last 8 against them, including last season when he went off for 44, went off for 37, year before that, 34, 31. I get it, right? Obviously, DeMar being here eats into his stuff a little bit. He's still at 27 points per game. Great. The only thing that's a little bit different than last year is that last year the Lakers were horrible giving up points to point guards. This year, they're in the top 6 limiting point guard points. Whereas if we look at 2023, like I was saying, 2 point guards points, we'll pull that up, and the Lakers are in the bottom 5 right here, bottom 6. So they gave up a ton more points to point guards last season. There's a lot less D'Lo as the point of attack defender. So as a result, you're going to get better numbers, better defensive numbers for the Lakers against point guards, because the matchup isn't going to be a bum on defense versus De'Aaron Fox. Now we're talking about better defenders up there against him. I'm not saying that I'm taking it under by any means. I'm just heeding a little bit of caution that this might not be the best just hit rate blindly, hit it bet kind of thing for D Fox against the Lakers as much as it's been in recent past. All right, final reminder, we do have 2 more codes for up 33. So if you want to get into the VIP for 33% off, use code UP33 when signing up on WAP.com. I'm going to be back with that live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Get in there, bring your bets, jump in the comments. We go over all that stuff together and find some more plays like we have been. And we'll keep going with these 33 units, baby. Can't wait to keep trucking along with a nice big slate on Thursday. So until I see y'all next, happy betting.